Okay, welcome back, everybody. This is the Gifted and Insane. The summer is over and we are back. I'm glad to be back in the saddle. How you doing, Jib?
Fantastic. Phenomenal. Happy to be back.
Good, man. So am I. So am I, man. I had a phenomenal summer, dude. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool, but you know how sometimes you go through things and it ain't cool while you're going through it, but when you come out stronger on the other side, it's always something cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I had my share of obstacles and hurdles this summer too, but the good outweighs the bad for sure.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like the speech of a strong person, because a lot of times it's like, well, and it's easy for people to get overwhelmed by the things that they face, especially if that's all you see in front of you. But I myself have gotten lost in, feeling a certain way and being emotionally overcharged and approaching things in a different way. And then when I cleared the fog, which I'm learning to do myself, by the way. I mean, it's good to bounce things off of you and, the other folks that I'm tight with. But I started to clear the fog on my own and be a little more rational and be patient while those little storms were going on. And those were the things that I perceived as being storms. And really, the clouds started to clear a little bit easier because I actually would think I would be calm, I would breathe, and I would ask myself the question, should these things be getting so much of my attention? But one thing I did learn is to draw lines, shorten the distance between thought and action, if that makes any sense. What I basically learned is that not living in my head so much as I should be living in the world, if that makes any sense. So I should live more in the real world and get out of my head. And, I'm getting better at doing that because I am a classic overthinker. So I don't know if you can identify with that.
Yeah, that definitely takes discipline and it takes tools. And coincidentally, that's pretty much kind of what I was on also, just trying to, like you say, weather the storm. And an analogy that I came up with over the summer through some of my research and meditations, and just coming to the conclusion that when you have a storm, it could be like very turbulent, and it could be a tsunami. There can be huge waves and hurricanes and everything going on. But even if there's a hurricane happening, maybe 100 feet to 200 feet. I don't know how I'm not a oceanographer, but there's a certain level that you get to under the water where it's still calm. And exercising that muscle is what we're all about. That's the whole purpose of what we're working on here, is just trying to learn how to use meditation or use different tools, whatever the tools are. We're trying to discover them to have us exercise that muscle where you can always go to that place of calm no matter how turbulent the surface of the ocean is, which is all these little minute problems and even major problems. When you really get strong and confident in yourself and in your idea of peace, you're kind of hard to shake. Even when major things happen, you still can go to that center.
That's very true. That's very true, man. I like the fact that you mentioned meditations. And I think that meditations are like an outfit. If it don't fit right, then you find another one. I think some people, they get with certain meditations. Like I like to listen to Wayne Dyer. I like guided meditations. And I'm the type of person that I need guided meditations because my brain will take off on anything, any sort of music, any sort of thought. It's that problem with associationism. And I sit down and I listen to, like I said, with Wayne Dyer, and he has these, to me, they're powerful meditations. But again, it may not work for everybody, but those work for me. So if y'all look up Wayne Dyer, he was a phenomenal person in the personal development field. And he has these things where you can just kind of let go, let his voice guide you, and you can be empowered at the end, and you can feel refreshed. And I think my goal was to be a little more calm, like you were saying, underneath the surface, when things are going crazy on the outside. And I discovered a little bit of that. I mean, had some bunch of things going on with my, my mom's health, and making sure I maintain my family and maintain my job that's funding whatever I need for it to fund now, while trying to grow, which is also a challenge. Because if you're a forward thinking person and you want to grow or you want to develop as a person, you can't stop. I mean, that's one of the things, you can't stop. So another challenge, I'm like, hey, I got to grow beyond what I'm doing. Say, for instance, at my job. Can't do it unless I go back to school or I find a different opportunity in another field. And I happen to like the field that I'm in, which is healthcare. And I'd like to grow there, plus, grow doing this, like, keep the gifted and insane rolling with you, keep life coaching, do my job, be a father, be a husband, and, and be a son that kind of has a role reversal. We had that episode earlier this year talking about the sandwich generation, and I'm living that life. So there are certain things coming to a head with, I won't get too specific about my mom's health, but it was concerning. And, making sure that my family, wherever they are, in the USA, I keep tabs on them and make sure that they're all cool, and making sure my health is cool, both physical and mental and emotional too. Got to throw that aspect in there. So it was a lot of challenges within those things, outside of the regular things that I had to deal with every day. But on the positive note, even with those things going on, I was able to reshape those things, or reframe those things, and then focus on what was, or what is positive, the things I do have. I had gotten caught up in this conversation with a friend that known me a long time, and we were talking about how these obstacles, these things, these challenges we face, they often blind us to the gifts that we have been blessed with. We complain, like, I'm not in my forever home right now, but I have a home. I may not be in my forever job right now, but I got employment that is pretty much, I gotta drop a bomb someplace before I can get let go of there, and I'm not that stupid to do that. My kids are healthy. I've seen this person with a mental health crisis. He really wasn't old, but how being on the streets and having a crisis and not, having treatment and going through all that takes its toll. This guy he was at his wit's end. He was, I saw him in Walmart earlier. He was just carrying around products, fake shopping. They kicked him out of there, and he was walking around the place talking to himself, trying to break the windows out of stores and stuff, and then just running off. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, man, that's somebody's child, and unfortunately he got lost. And, I used to be one of those cats that looked at it like, oh, let's save everyone. Some people can't be saved, unfortunately, because if he could be, he would be with his family right now, or getting treatment or something. And he got lost. He got lost to the streets, and we don't want that for our children. Them wandering around, putting themselves in danger. Even though he's an adult, he's still putting himself in danger. And he trying to break our windows. You never know how someone else is going to react to that. They don't value his life as much as he should value his own life. But I'm just glad that I have healthy kids. And even though with my experiences and stuff throughout my life, I'm good. And people are like, oh, you shouldn't make comparisons. You have to look at the world to figure out what you got sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And just waking up in the morning and being healthy, being able to get up and make yourself breakfast. You're not physically incapable of doing some of the just mundane tasks that we take for granted. There's people who can't even do that. They have to struggle to do that, and we're just, that's one of the things that I've been over the hiatus, since we're just kind of getting caught up, just mindfulness and, gratitude for what I do have. And looking back from where I came from, I had to take the time to be grateful for looking from where I started at last year about this time.
Mm.
Made a lot of progress. But, your ambition is a good thing, but it can also be a challenge. And it could also be a negative force, like a negative voice in your head when you're looking at where you want to go
Mm.
constantly, and that's
Mm.
ruining the present. So there's a few things I did to kind of like help me with my mindfulness. For one, I started cycling, and it was actually kind of out of necessity. I bought that bike last year. I
Yeah.
had been talking about riding it forever, and then my car broke down, and then I was like, this is the opportunity for me to ride this bike.
Hmm.
But once I did it, it opened up a whole new chamber. It opened up a new hobby for me. It's really good to get out and see the city, and I use it as a mindfulness practice. Like you said, but the meditation can be anything. Like it's meditation is basically, in a nutshell, from my observation, killing the voice in your head. When you talk about overthinking, really what meditation is it's learning how to practice getting rid of the overthinking. So some meditations, they'll have you say three, 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 and picture the letter three in your head, because what that's doing is you're basically multitasking, and you're visualizing something, you're using your mouth at the same time,
Learning to
and you're,
focus on.
yeah, so it's taking it's killing. You can't overthink at the same time.
Right.
Like there was this one meditation guru that I can't remember his name, but he said it's impossible for you to breathe, inhale, and concentrate on your breath and overthink at the same time. So that's one thing. That's one of the reasons why they meditate. They concentrate on breathing so much, because those thoughts about where you went wrong in the past or what you're not doing, it really takes away, like you say, your forever job. Like forever just might be in 2 days. So if you're if you died today, would you be happy? And that's what we have to kind of think about. Like we have to kind of figure out a way to be happy wherever we are in our life at the moment. And then that's going to open up the channel and be able for us to envision. We can even be more creative. We don't think about how much time, how much energy is expanded thinking about negative thoughts and ruminating on the past, ruminating on an argument that you had over something petty, thinking about the future that's not even here yet. There's so much energy is wasted on that could be used for something creative. But we just have to learn how to discipline ourselves to get to that point where we're not ruining the presence with the present with those things, and being grateful and having gratitude for where you are in life at this time, and understanding where you want to go. You have to set up goals, small goals, time management, and enjoy the dance. Wayne Dyer, I remember I used to watch him as well. I used to watch him on PBS, and he,
Channel 28.
yeah, I'm showing my age. I'm like an old man, but I was an old man. Like even as a kid, I would watch like stuff like that. And I remember him saying a lot of people forget to enjoy the dance. They're just trying to wait till the end of the song.
That's right. And it's like you're missing the entire song. And it could be such a beautiful song, and certain parts could move you in different directions, but you're staring at the end of the train while you're walking through the cars. But the cars are packed with different people, different experiences, because people bring a lot to the table. And I just use the train as an example, is because you're looking to get to the end of the train, and that's your destination for joy and happiness. But there's enjoyment in each car between the engine and the caboose of the train. Just like with the song, I mean, you can enjoy each parts of the song. There's certain songs I just like how when they start, when they come on, and then it moves into the middle part of the song, and then it ends. But I've missed so many dances, bro. It's like I've missed so many opportunities to dance I missed opportunities to dance with people, you know, and this is only like a figure of speech, but but you understand what I'm saying in terms of like, if you call life a dance, if life is a dance, I missed a lot of opportunities to dance. I'm not judging myself or harping on things. I'm just saying this as an example because I missed the opportunity to enjoy certain things. Now, I'm all about experiences and stuff. And I did enjoy certain things over this summer. That was fantastic. You know, me and the wife drove across country, and that was cool, seeing different states and going through them and stuff like that. And that was my second time doing that. There were like just, you know, trips and stuff. And even with like, you know, I had, I dealt with that flight cancellation stuff that they had with, I guess you may know more than I do, that when the flight, the days or the days, the stretch of days during the summer where the flights and stuff were getting canceled and they had to, you know, reschedule flights and all that stuff. I had it happen to me like 3 times on one flight, and I ended up going to different places and stuff like that. So my reframe for that was like, okay, well then I'll see something new and I'll see a new place that I've never been before. I flew from LA. I flew out of there, and I hadn't been to that airport in a while because I usually just drive to LA. But I flew from there, went to Detroit. Never been to Detroit before. And, you know, there's like how many metropolitan areas have it. Their airport's like way down south below the city. But with me, I like to walk outside the airport and think, you know, so I can say that I've really been to the city, and that's not true. But I went outside. I was going to actually catch the bus to downtown, but it was a little bit farther, and I missed the bus that I needed to catch anyway. But I was like, okay, cool, but I'm still here, you know, and I made the most of it. Was talking to a few people and ended up catching my flight out of there. But, you know, I made the most of it. Still seemed like a lemonade out of lemon situation because I decided to not let that ruin it for me. Because on my flight out of there, I saw downtown. I saw one of the Great Lakes for the first time in my life. So it's different minor little things like that some people may take for granted. Like, oh, I've been up there to Detroit like 17,000 times. Good. There's some people like me that haven't done it. And I valued whatever I saw on the ground and from the air. And we have to approach things like that. Now, back to what you were saying about, you know, be happy where you are. It's the freaking truth. It's the freaking truth. But you're by no means endorsing for a person to sit there in squalor and just remain stagnant. That's not what you were saying. You're saying be happy where you are, look at what you've got and take advantage of it, and find your creativity in that to get you out of there. Because a lot of people been in squalor before. I've been in squalor before, and I've had hopes and aspirations and dreams to get out of that stuff. And that's why it seemed like it was a dream. But certain things will appear to you in different packages that you didn't expect. But you just have to be open and keep your eyes open to see those opportunities. Because if you focus on the negative all the time and you get caught in that negative loop, that negative routine, that's all you're going to freaking see. That's all you're going to freaking see. All these things that, you know, these little things that we described that happened to us over the summer. Some people, it's a shoulder shrug. Other people, it could devastate them. We never know what state anyone's in. But we have to know that building ourselves up inside and learning to see how we can make lemonade out of lemons in certain situations will benefit us. And if you just start that practice today, are you going to see results today? Maybe not. You may not see the results today of starting to do sit-ups, but in 3 months' time, you're going to start seeing something. You're going to start seeing something. And just with the consistency of doing your sit-ups nightly or every other night or something like that, and you stay on it and not worry about looking in the mirror every day. Stay on that consistent, you know, I'm going to do my sit-ups. It's the same thing as doing your meditations. It's doing your sit-ups for your mind. Changing that inner voice that you were talking about, Jib, that inner negative voice, changing that, you will see results over time. You and I both have been through things or have experienced things that is a test. It's been a test for us. And guess what? Even though we were in our feelings at that time, which we're human beings and we're allowed to be, how we dealt with it moving forward is what made the thing happen, is what makes the freaking difference. And when you build yourself up and you recognize that strength you've gotten after so many times you would have folded in the same situation or a similar situation a year before, 6 months before, 5 years before, you become proud of yourself. You become proud of yourself and be like, hey, I did it. I'm better. I'm stronger. Okay, this is still here. I'm going to handle this. Or I'm going to, with my calm mind or my, being under control, I'm going to figure a way around this. I'm going to do this for myself because I've already strengthened myself and it feels better and then you want more of it. I don't know about you, but when I feel empowered and I feel that strength and I feel that growth, I mean, it's a different kind of thing because it doesn't involve like, okay, I'm going to yell to show my strength. I'm going to bust all kinds of stuff up to show my strength. Strength comes from different sources, and it's a different source, especially when it comes from your inner core, period.
Yeah, and if you live long enough to build up that inner core, like you said, when you missed a lot of dances, but at the same time, you're still here and you were able to see the dance moves. It's like now at our age, and it doesn't matter really what age you can apply this at any time if you live long enough to observe some of the mistakes that you may have made or to just be able to put everything together. Like that's kind of where I feel like I'm at right now in life, as far as just taking a lot of the small things and things that I've picked up along the way and like implementing those things now. Like now, I can look at it from a different perspective and actually put these things into practice. I'm not just experimenting anymore. I think that's where wisdom comes from. I think this summer for me, we could just call this the lemonade stand because there was so much reframing. I like the word, I like the term when you said reframing, because that was the whole key to my summer this summer. Like you said, a lot of things would probably break another person. And I had some serious stuff. Well, my car breaking down, I had to figure out how to fix it myself. Then I used that as an opportunity to ride my bike, and I'm like, yeah, I was excited about that. Then I got a nail in the bike tire, and I had to walk it back home. And then I was like, okay, well, hey, this is an opportunity for me to learn how to work on bikes. So I just kept reframing, and making things into a positive and inquisitive type of learning experience. And it's been helping me get through things like so much easier, and I'm not sitting around beating myself up like, oh, woe is me. Like, oh, why is everything always, is there a damn dark thundercloud just floating over my head everywhere I go,
Yeah.
So, yeah. So reframing it is so important.
Right. And it's so easy. Like, and I know that I've been there before that, talking about the thunder clouds and all that other stuff gathering around. And that cycle just continues and, negative begets negative. And that's all you see. And then you get mad and then, really, when I say get mad, a lot of times I just thinking about how I felt during those situations. It was like more or less I was in a lot of pain. I was hurt in those situations before. And now with that strength and building up stuff, it's like I understand now I can kind of manage my emotions a little bit better and understand that it's okay for me to have emotions, and have these human experiences. So you understand yourself a bit better. That's why you're not beating yourself up, because that's like our default thing to fall back on. It's like, oh, stupid. Oh, damn, I did this, or oh, I screwed that up. And then meanwhile, the moment has passed, but we progressively grind the knife in our wounds to keep the wound open and bleeding.
Right. And that's where the maturity comes in, because a lot of times that wound was already there. Like as children, we were born with it. And then as adolescents, it just, we got more salt poured on it. And then understanding as you grow up, and going back and looking at some of the things that may have caused those wounds, even as far as back as your parents or their parents' parents, it gives you a different perspective. If you live long enough, like I said, to come to that maturity where you can look at these things and understand that helps you deal with it a lot easier, you know. And you're not looking at the wound as something that is your fault or something that's impossible to overcome, because you've developed some scabs through maintaining yourself
Right.
and forcing yourself to deal with things head on. A lot of us take these wounds and we hide behind things, you know, vices, you know, liquor, relationships, anything but to face those wounds. And the greater the wounds, the harder it is to face, and the more you want to run from it. You know, some of us run all the way to our deaths. You know, maybe not literally killing yourself, but just being so reckless with things that you put yourself in a position where, you know, you're going to have an earlier death.
Right. And I declared a stop loss to that stuff. What people don't understand is like even if you see a warrior portrayed on TV or in the movies or whatever, you look at that warrior, the skin on that warrior, it ain't clean, it ain't smooth, it ain't without its characteristic scars. And that's what when they allowed their wounds to heal. These mighty warriors allowed their wounds to heal. Do you see
Right.
the scars there? Yes, the scars tell a story. Oh, you know, this is a time when, you know, the raiders from whatever came and sliced me on the shoulder. I fought them off and obviously healed up, came back, didn't take them out, and they're stronger. No one's without their wounds. No one's without their scars. The thing is like scars are just healed wounds. We got to think about that. Scars are just healed wounds. They tell a story. But at the same
Right.
time, you don't base your entire story on those scars. If somebody asks you about them, yeah, but you don't think everybody's going to slice you in the shoulder, no, or you wouldn't have any relationships with anybody. You wouldn't deal with anybody, you know. And some people, one slice, they're out of there, and everybody else is going to slice them up, and that's not how the world works. Will there be other people that try to do that? Yes, but as of now, not the vast majority of people. And you're robbing yourself of experiences and potential relationships that you can probably gain from. Because
And
sometimes,
also, though, the wound is to make you to have you remember that you did something really dumb. Like as a kid, you might have a scar from childhood right now where you were like, you know what, I'm never going to stand up on a bike seat again going down a hill. You know, yeah, you got the scar to prove it. That's where the wisdom comes in.
yeah, be wearing hats for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. I had this thing, man. I had speaking of this summer, I had taken a trip to Cali, and I was driving my car, and my car is making this rattling noise, and it's like, you know, this guy is gonna. A family member said that he knew a guy was gonna hook me up or whatever. So I drove down there and trying to figure out what was going on. And again, it's like you can either be upset at everything that happens, or you can roll with it and make changes. The place that I originally thought I was going to stay, it fell through while I was on the road. And I had my kids with me. And I'm like, okay,
Right.
so, what are we going to do? All right, guess what? We got technology. And because I've been working so hard, I got a little bit of resources, and I got family. And, you know, I'm thinking of all my things that I could do instead of sitting there harping on the fact that that other thing fell through for me. I immediately went into a different mode. Okay, this is here. There is nothing I can do about it but move forward, right? Or I could sit there and whine for the next 3 hours on the road, killing time. Business day is going to be over. Place is going to be shut down. What can I do? Utilize whatever I had with me and made it work. And it worked out. It worked out. It was just fine. Went from there. Plans changed. I bent. It went left, and I wanted to go right. Guess what? I went left, but I went left my way. Ended up meeting down. Ended up going to having a nice time. Went down, you know, to the beach and saw some fireworks, and everything was cool. Had good meals. Everything just worked out. Ended up going back up to, where did I go? I went to Central Cali. just north of like Bakersfield and stuff. Their kids and I have relatives out there. Went out there, dude. Looked at my stuff and I thought things were broken. I bought parts for my car, and actually the parts weren't broken. These were I don't know if you're familiar with the parts. They're lower control arms on the steering columns, and both of them. One was about to pop off, and the other one was on its way to. It was loose, as it And the guy was like asking me if somebody tampered with him, and I was like, I don't know. He asked me if I had any enemies. Well, I definitely had someone, something, some entity on my side, because one of those things would have popped out. Then my wheels would have turned in. My steer wheels would have turned in sideways, and it could have been over for me and my kids. And so I was very grateful. I was very thankful and I was already like gracious and thankful for things that I've gotten. But it's certain times where you just got to say, hey, this thing's more powerful than me at play here, because I'm still meant to be here to make some things happen. Because certain speeds I was traveling or certain curbs I was taking, that could have been a very dangerous situation. And I could have taken out over half my family, my immediate family, with that. And that got fixed. But it's like things were just going and happening, whether it was a challenge or not, or whether it was like a dangerous situation that I was unaware of or not. I moved in faith, but thank goodness things worked out, because we have these plans in our head. This is going to go this way, this way, this way, and this way. And then the world, the universe, has a way for it not to go that way. It has a way of shifting you left when you want to go right. We have to be savvy enough to know that things are going left, but understand how to make moves going left that's going to make us powerful in these situations. It's going to benefit us in these situations. I can't get specific for anybody else that's listening, but I think that if you do a replay in your mind of certain situations, it'll be hard to resist. It'll be harder to go upstream versus just going downstream with the flow of how things are going and allowing. And that's one of it's actually allowing is an art form. And Abraham Hicks talks about it. A lot of other people in the personal development world talks about it. It's the art of allowing. Because if you sit there and get mad because you cannot control a situation, you're going to cause yourself undue stress. I mean, do things within your realm of control, which is what I did, and things ended up flowing well. I figured that part of it out. I don't know if I found the flow of that situation or not, but I recognized what it was. And I think where a lot of stress I had before in previous months and years and all that was going against the flow of how it was going to go and not being savvy enough to figure my way around it. It was either collapse or use super amounts of energy to try to force this stuff to go back the way that I expected it to go. Because I had this algorithmic way of thinking. It's like from this over here to this, to this, to this. If not this, then and it's like even in those algorithms, like if you look at an algorithm and it has like one main box at the top, it branches down, then it splits. Either this or that. And then if this, and then it drops down and it splits again. Then it splits again. You have to make choices within that. Even if you think in that way, or if you feel how things are supposed to be that way, you still have to make a decision. If options are taken away from you, look at the other branches off the algorithm on that tree. Look at the other options. Okay, this isn't favorable, but I'll go ahead and deal with it and see what happens. And a lot of things were based on stubbornness and fear. I lost that this summer. I lost that. Because, I mean, with all these back-to-back lessons like you with your car breaking down and certain things like that, you know, those who have the resources and may not understand this, but those of us who are on razor's edge many times, one shift, one change is like really, it's powerful. And even if it's really powerful, we still have to have the strength and the awareness and the mindset to make moves and keep it moving anyway. And then once we're able to do that, we have to look back and I'm sorry, it's tooting your own horn or whatever you want to call it. We got to celebrate that stuff. And sometimes it's even the small victories got to be celebrated, because any amount of success, if you celebrate, if you recognize it and you figure that formula out, it will lead to other successful endeavors. It will. You just have to use the tools. Like do you remember what that meditation was? You were saying it tells you to say the number 333 all the time, because a person like me, I'm probably undiagnosed ADHD or something. My mind switches fast and it works super fast. But we don't realize how many people out there have a very difficult time focusing on one task. And unless it's like a negative loop or something like that, that we kind of easily perpetuate, but something that's positive and powerful, we need tools to help us focus on these things and just reiterate and regenerate these types of things that are repetitive. Just how we learned the ABCs when we were kids. We need those things even as adults that's going to kind of repeat the positive and stuff like that. And those who think of it as magic pill, magic wand, Harry Potter kind of stuff, it's not, it doesn't work like that. Nobody even says it works like that. But that day when you realize how strong you are or the strength you've gathered, and not saying that you're going to just blow the doors off the place, but any reminder or any indication, I should say, of your strength and your growth, that feeling, I can't even describe it. It's freaking great. It's freaking great. It's just like growing in any part of your life. I remember, I think I told you this story. I had when I had trained martial arts, it was Kempo karate a long time ago. And I miss it. It was great. It was one of the things that I feel it got me in great shape, was a confidence builder. And it helped with calming in situations where, you have your flight or fight triggered, and just being centered, under control, and skilled. Those things, it has a fantastic effect on a person. I had a certain individual while I was training. Met me outside the dojo, and this person was part of my life and was always hollering and yelling and trying to punk me like I was soft or whatever. And because of my upbringing, I'll be like, don't challenge this person or don't challenge that person. Just kind of be easy and be cool. And so I did. Never worked and wouldn't stop them. So I was always on edge when that person was around. And, being young, what was I, like 18, 19 or something like that? And a person was older than I was. And they started jaw jacking, and, it sounded like a freaking Rottweiler on two legs. So the day I knew that I reached my pinnacle in the training was when they did the same routine, came up, yelling, challenging me or whatever. The day I could look at him and I knew what I could do to him. I believe I think the move was called crashing wings or something like that, because you learn these different, depending on the person's angle and how the closer they are to you or what they're going to do. Because if they grab you like this, you're going to do that. If they step this way, you're going to do it. So each one is like position dependent on where the person is. And I looked at him and I knew what I could do. And there's this calm that washed over my body like I cannot even describe to you. You have to experience it yourself. And it was a calm that washed over me that put me at ease in that situation. And I was looking at him. I let him talk. I didn't react. I didn't give them what they wanted, which was either me being fearful or me being visibly rattled. And so they eventually walked off and I went on with my day. But I went on with my day with this new sense of value and self-worth, which I wish I, was able to keep that training up. And it was phenomenal. It was a phenomenal feeling to know, like, look, I withstood that stuff and it did nothing to me. It did not move me. I was in control of me 100%. And it was a fantastic feeling. And from then on out, and I could know, like, you know what, this person is really, really nice, really, really humble. Like, if you meet people that, like, usually, like, are fighters and stuff, they're some of the nicest people on the planet, and really, really cool, really easy to talk to. And you're like, you know why? Because they have no problem. They know that they can defend themselves. They don't need to bark at anybody. They don't need to prove themselves in that capacity. So what else is there for you to do but to be a nice, humble, kind person? The same thing with that physical training, which, it roped in my mental with that. But the same thing is what we were talking about that aided us in our experiences over this past summer, over this break. So you guys out there listening, you guys are going to get plenty of good stuff. I know we were saying some good things, and we didn't get as in depth on a lot of the things that we've experienced, but that's for, the episodes we got coming up, which we're going to collaborate and get some of these things out. We're going to hit things like what we talked about, overthinking, and that's going to be covered in the Thinker's Prison. We have another one, and a lot of these titles are going to be, these are tentative. We may switch them up. I mean, we got that choice to do that. One is going to be called Homeless, and not talking about people that are unhoused. It's a different type of homeless, and just stay tuned for that. Those things are cool. One of them is going to be called The Illusion of Easy Street. So we're talking about work, and don't get it twisted. You're going to have to do something to get yourself someplace. So, and then the one that we're still working on is called Stifled Reality. And the stifle means just to place restrictions on things. So we'll get more in depth with those. We got a few more titles and stuff that we're working on that we're going to bring you throughout this fall. And we're going to finish this year up really strong. So we appreciate you guys, and we appreciate you guys for hanging in there. Hopefully you guys had some good experiences over the summer. If you had some sort of adventure, you had something that is useful, you guys can always hit us up. Some of you guys talk to us personally, which is cool. We appreciate that. We appreciate the direct feedback. But you guys can hit us up at giftedandinsane@gmail.com. If not, if you guys got our personal lines, or if you got contact with us, just let us know. And then also let us know if we can record and part of your story, and we'll keep you anonymous if that's your wish. We won't leave your whole government out there. But we enjoy the interacting. We enjoy the feedback for sure, because, I've had some people, Jib, come up to me still. They're listening to some of the old episodes and some of the things that you and I have done, and they get something different each time they listen. And that's cool. They tell me, they even thank me for that stuff. So that's cool. That's cool. And I got a couple of coaching clients out of it. So I am a life coach and stuff. And Jib and I are in the, well, he's been in it before me, but I'm entering the business world, being an entrepreneur, and of course I'm going to share my experiences with that on this platform, because it's kind of like a way we can productively express ourselves and touch people that are like-minded and like-hearted, and we do appreciate all of you guys. So hopefully you guys had a good summer. You got something else for us, Jib?
I'll leave everyone with this. A lesson that I learned over the summer in a nutshell is that you will be challenged. Life is not here to just make you happy, and it's not some utopia at the end of something that you're looking for. It is from the time that you were that one sperm fighting thousands of sperms to get here, to the time when you were falling on your ass trying to learn how to walk, and stumbling on you trying to learn how to ride a bike and you scrape your knee. It never ends. You just have to figure out a way to enjoy the challenges.
and the time between the challenges as well. Because happiness isn't a destination, like he's saying. You have to experience happiness now and understand that things that aren't favored by us is going to happen. But the way we look at it, the way we frame it, the way we attack it is gonna be different. Even you once said, Jip, it was like, what does it say? The weight doesn't get lighter, you just get stronger, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the way it goes, man. And look around what you got, and we're not saying like enjoy being in squalor and remain in squalor, but even if you're downtrodden, even if you're not where you want to be all the way, you got things around you that's good. You got your family. Or if you don't have any blood, you can build one. You can build one with people that aren't blood. There are opportunities out there for you. You just have to look and find them. You have to remain open for them. And that's all. That's what I got to say. I am appreciative, like I said, of all of you. I'm appreciative of what I got out there, family and opportunities included. And we will come back with another episode of The Gifted and Insane. Like I said, you guys hit us up at giftedandinsane@gmail.com. And with these various platforms that we're on, we have areas like YouTube where you can leave us a comment or ask a question or anything like that. We always enjoy you guys listening and understand that, hey, replays are always on. You guys can go back, click on things and listen and get enlightened. Or maybe you got something to enlighten us. Who knows? But let's share and grow together. All right, guys. This is Marzette. I'm with Jabri, and we are the guys with The Gifted and Insane. You guys take care. Be safe until next time. All right. Peace.
Laters.